Hey guys, I'm Mark from A Portion of Sport and welcome to Game Week 21 of the Premier League review. We are back after the FA Cup break last week and it's good to have Premier League football back. But if you are new to this series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we then take a look at the Premier League table and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is a list of the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th of January. Also next to those games are their times in this video. You know the drill by now. If you want to hear about a specific game, go to the time next to the match. You'll skip out everything else. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Swansea versus Arsenal. After a relatively boring first half, it looked like the game was heading into half-time 0-0. But in the 37th minute, Olivier Giroud put Arsenal ahead. It came when Aaron Ramsey had the ball on the wing. He then switched the play to Alexis Sanchez, who put the ball onto the head of Mesut Ozil. His header is deflected by Alfie Mawson into the path of the Frenchman, and he calmly slot the ball home from close range. And Arsenal will double their lead 10 minutes into the second half when Alex Iwobi hit a shot from a very tight angle and the ball hits off of Swansea defender Jack Cork and the ball ended up in his own net. At the time it was given to Iwobi, but the goal ended up going down as a Jack Cork own goal. And Arsenal would put the game to bed in the 67th minute when they got their third through another Swansea own goal. It came when yet again Alex Iwobi causes problems. He gets around his man and puts the ball into the area, and unfortunately Carl Norton sticks his leg out and the ball trickles into his own net. And Arsenal would complete the demolition of Swansea when they made it 4, and this time it was actually one of their own players who scored when Alexis Sanchez got the goal. It came when Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain found some space on the left hand side. He then cut the ball back to Aaron Ramsey. Swansea midfielder Wayne Routledge tried to help out and ends up putting the ball into the path of Sanchez, and the Chilean international makes no mistake as he put the ball home from close range. And that is how the game would end. Arsenal deserved winners in the end. Too much skill for Swansea, who had no chance from the get-go, to be honest. With this result, Arsenal moved back into the top 4 with teams still to play on the Sunday, and it moved Swansea to the bottom of the Premier League table. And we move on to Tottenham versus West Brom. Tottenham would take the lead in the 12th minute when Harry Kane got his 60th Premier League goal in a Tottenham shirt. It came following a slick bit of pass and movement between Spurs, and it ends up with Christian Eriksen, who slipped the ball into the area, and it falls to the unmarked Harry Kane, who put the ball in at the near post. And about 10 minutes later, Tottenham would double their lead when Christian Eriksen takes a shot from outside the box. It takes a deflection off of Jonas Olsen and then another one from Gareth McCauley, and it left Ben Foster with no chance. Christian Eriksen tried to claim that one, but it won't count as his, and it went down as Gareth McCauley own goal. And Tottenham would put the game to bed in the 77th minute when they got their third, and Harry Kane got his second in the match. It came when Kyle Walker put the ball into the box, and it fell to Harry Kane, who steered the ball past Ben Foster. And Harry Kane would just be adding to West Brom's misery 5 minutes later when he completed his hat-trick. It came when Harry Kane and Dele Alli exchanged passes with each other, and it ended up with Ali scooping the ball up for Harry Kane to step up and put a volley past Ben Foster for his third. And that is how the game would end. Tottenham now make it 6 Premier League wins in a row, and they stop West Brom from getting their third. And with this result, it keeps West Brom in 8th and actually moved Tottenham up to 2nd on Saturday, with Liverpool still to play on the Sunday. And we move on to Everton versus Manchester City. The first shot on target for Everton would result in their first goal, and it was their big Belgian striker Romelu Lukaku who put the Toffees ahead. It came when a Gael Clichy clearance is hit straight to Tom Davies. Davies immediately played a ball through to Kevin Morales, who then squared the ball to his Belgian teammate, who smashed home for his 12th goal of the season. And Everton would double their lead 2 minutes into the second half when the man who assisted the first goal, Kevin Morales, got the score sheet himself. It came when Yaya Toure gave the ball away in the middle of the pitch and Lukaku pounces to find Morales. John Stones tries to defend, but to be honest he doesn't know how, and his clearance is straight to Ross Barkley, who gives it back to Morales again, who put the ball into the far corner of the net. And Everton would add the third goal in the 79th minute when the 19-year-old Tom Davies got the goal. It came when Tom Davies basically took on the entire Manchester City team before calmly dinking the ball over the banker, pretending to be a goalkeeper, Claudio Bravo. And in the 94th minute, Everton would put the final nail in the coffin when the 18-year-old January signing, Ademola Lookman, got a goal on his debut. He came off the bench about 5 minutes before this, and the former Charlton man swept home the ball into the net through Claudio Bravo's legs with his very first touch in an Everton shirt. Not a bad way to start your Premier League career. And that's how the game would end, a 4-0 defeat for Manchester City, and more importantly for Pep Guardiola, as this is his heaviest defeat ever It goes to show you can't go from playing with the best team in the world to a team that has John Stones in defence. But let's not take anything away from Everton, and especially their youngsters Tom Davies and Ademola Lookman. Lookman getting a goal on his debut, and Tom Davies played like his life depended on it. Great result for Everton. Doghouse for Manchester City. We move on to Hull versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth started the game with a perfect chance to take the lead, as only 2 minutes into the match, they were ordered a penalty. It came when Ryan Fraser made his way into the area and Harry Maguire came in with an unnecessary challenge and the referee pointed to the spot. Junior Stanislas stepped up to take it and made no mistake as he smashed the ball past the Hull keeper. But Hull would equalise in the 32nd minute when Tom Huddlestone played a perfect ball through to Andrew Robertson. Robertson then played a picture-perfect ball into the box for Abel Hernandez, who nodded the ball in on his first Hull start since November. And Hull would take the lead in the 50th minute when Abel Hernandez got his and Hull's second. It came when he made his way into the box on the right-hand side. He'd done a couple of step-overs to sell his man before he curled the ball past Artur Boruc to send Hull ahead. And Hull would put the game to bed in the 62nd minute when they got their third through a Tyrone Mings own goal. It came when a Robert Snodgrass free kick is whipped into the box and Bournemouth failed to deal with it. The ball eventually dropped for Tom Huddlestone, who sliced the ball and it looked like it was going well wide. However, the ball deflected off of Bournemouth defender Tyrone Mings and into his own net. And that's how the game would end. And after sacking their manager Mike Phelan earlier this week, this was a perfect start for Marco Silva's time at Hull. And with this result, Hull are slowly but surely climbing up the table. They are now 18th and only a few points away from getting out of the relegation zone, and Bournemouth are still in 11th. We move on to Leicester versus Chelsea. After having a little argument midweek, Chelsea boss Antonio Conte decided not to play Chelsea's and the Premier League's leading goalscorer Diego Costa. But it wouldn't matter as 6 minutes into the match they took the lead when Marcus Alonso put the league leaders ahead. It came when Eden Hazard shows awareness to pop the ball up for Alonso, who smacks the ball into the net past Kasper Schmeichel. And 5 minutes into the second half, Chelsea would double their lead when Marcus Alonso got his second. It came when a free kick is put into the box and it's partially cleared out to Alonso, who takes a touch and keeps his shot low, and it nestled into the bottom corner. And Chelsea would get their third in the 71st minute through Pedro. It came when former Leicester man N'Golo Kante played a ball to Pedro on the edge of the box, who then put the ball into the path of Willian with a beautiful backheel pass. Leicester keeper Kasper Schmeichel is forced off of his line, but Willian beats him to the ball. He chips the ball into the 6-yard box for Pedro to head home easily. And that's how the game would end. Chelsea are running away with the league now, and after suffering their first defeat in 13 last time to Tottenham, they will have wanted to do exactly this and thrash their next opponents to get themselves straight back in the saddle. And Leicester's dire title defending season carries on, but Chelsea's potential title winning season is back on track. And just like that, somebody outside starts to drill, and if you can hear that, I'm very sorry. And we move on to West Ham versus Crystal Palace. This game was pretty much dead throughout the entire of the game, and it would take until the 66th minute until one of these teams broke the deadlock when West Ham took the lead. It came when Mikel Antonio broke free of any opposition and then calmly took the ball around Palace keeper Wayne Hennessy. He unselfishly put the ball back across goal, and on hand was summer signing Sofiane Feghouli to tap home for his first Premier League goal. And 10 minutes later, West Ham would double their lead through their big striker Andy Carroll, and oh my god, what a goal! It came when yet again Mikel Antonio gets the assist when he crosses the ball in from the left, and on hand was Andy Carroll to convert with a scissor kick. Top 3 goals of the season, definitely. Not sure whether I would put them above the Scorpion kicks, but it's up there. It's up there. And 5 minutes later, West Ham would put the game to bed when they added their third through Manuel Lanzini. It came when Mikel Antonio got his third assist of the match when he put the ball through to Lanzini. He gets clear and digs the ball over the keeper to put the game beyond any doubt. And that's how the game would end. A big 3 points for West Ham after the week that they've had when Dimitri Payet stated that he wanted to leave the club. Perhaps with a few more wins, they can convince their star not to leave just yet and wait until the end of the season. And we move on to Sunderland versus Stoke. Stoke started the strongest of the two teams and they deservedly took the lead 15 minutes into this match through Marko Arnautovic. It came when Sunderland cheaply lost the ball and left Stoke free for a counter-attack. The ball wound up with Arnautovic, whose first shot was saved by the keeper, but there was nothing he could do for the second as the ball fell back to him and he put the visitors ahead. And 5 minutes later, Stoke would double their lead when they played a perfect bit of football with pass after pass, and the move cuts open the Sunderland defenders and left Marko Arnautovic in a ton of space to coolly finish past Vito Minone for his second of the match. and Stoke would add their third in the 33rd minute when the man Mountain Peter Crouch got the goal. It came when a ball was put into the box and Peter Crouch does what Peter Crouch does best and heads the ball into an empty net after Sunderland keeper Vitor Manone got his timing all wrong, and an excellent header from Crouch put the game almost beyond any doubt. But Sunderland wouldn't go down quietly, as in the 40th minute they got a goal back through their best player Jermaine Defoe. It came when the Stoke defenders fell asleep for a second, and that's all it took for Defoe to work his way through and calmly slot past the keeper. And that's how the game would end. The game was very dull in the second half and hardly anything happened at all. But with this result, it continues Sunderland's horrid start to the season, and they are definite favourites to go down come the end of the season. As Sunderland and Swansea are always playing hot potato with the bottom of the table. However, this week it's Swansea that sit at the bottom, and Stoke climbed into the top half of the table up to 9th. And we move on to Manchester United versus Liverpool. The biggest game in world football was back this week when Manchester United took on deadly rivals Liverpool in the late kickoff on Sunday. Yes, you might be going, oh, El Clasico's bigger. No, it's not. Shut up. On average, the El Clasico draws in about 400 million people worldwide, whereas on average, Manchester United versus Liverpool draws in 700 million. This is bigger. The game was everything you expected it to be, end-to-end stuff, a few dodgy tackles flying in, but not that many goals. The first one came in this 27th minute when James Milner converted from the penalty spot. It came when a corner is whipped in and Paul Pogba has his arms in the air for some reason, trying to hit a mid-air dab. The ball hits his hand and the referee pointed to the spot. Like I said, James Milner stepped up to take it and put it right past David De Gea. And after this, the game really had no big moments, it was just end-to-end football with near chance after near chance. But the next goal came in the 83rd minute when Manchester United equalised the scoring. It started with Antonio Valencia on the left-hand side, who was offside by the way. He put a ball in that meant nobody. The ball came back in and Marwan Fellaini's header hit the post. The ball falls back to Antonio Valencia, onside now, who put the ball onto the head of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who heads the ball into the net via the underside of the bar. And that is how the game would end. Points shared in this massive game, and it was probably the fair result. Manchester bossed the second half, and all the way throughout the second half you felt an equaliser was in the stars, and they got it late into the game. But with this result, Liverpool are third on goal difference and Manchester United stay in 6th. And we move on to Burnley versus Southampton. Pretty boring game in all honesty. Nothing happened apart from in the 77th minute when Joey Barton got the winner. 5 minutes earlier, Joey Barton came on the field as a substitute after being re-signed by Burnley this month, and the first thing he did was hit a free kick from about 25 yards out. Low, hits the wall, but that little touch ends up taking the ball into the back of the net. And that's how the game would end. Probably the predicted result, to be fair. Burnley always solid at home, and it's the only place they seem to pick up points. And with this result, Burnley are bang in the middle of the table in 10th, and Southampton are 13th. And finally, we've got Watford versus Middlesbrough. Nothing that I can really add to this one. Another 0-0 game that included Middlesbrough, but this time Watford were probably the ones who deserved to win. They nearly won it right at the end, but it wasn't to be. Both teams came away with a point. Right, so that's all the fixtures I've got for you this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Start with the top 5, and as you can see, Chelsea extended their lead at the top to 7 points after Liverpool dropped points this week. Tottenham is second following their big win at West Brom. Liverpool are third after their draw with rivals Manchester United. Arsenal are fourth, no point in me making a joke about that, after beating Swansea. And Manchester City are fifth after being demolished by Everton. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Swansea are bottom after being murdered by Arsenal. Sunderland are 19th following their loss to Stoke. Hull are 18th following their first win in about 10 games this week. Crystal Palace are 17th after their loss to West Ham, and Middlesbrough make up the bottom 5 after their 0-0 draw with Watford. Moving on to top goal scorers, and as you can see, Alexis Sanchez is top after his goal this week took him to 14 goals and 7 assists. Diego Costa, for the first time in a long time, isn't on the top, as he is now second on 14 goals and 5 assists. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is third, adding a goal against Liverpool, taking his tally to 14 goals, 3 assists. Harry Kane is fourth, 13 goals, 2 assists. And making up the top 5 is Romelu Lukaku on 12 goals and 4 assists. Right, so that's everything I've got for you this time. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back next Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League Review. Boom, boom. In the meantime, though, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow the Portion of Sport Twitter account, where we'll be tweeting about football games that pique our interests, and also any wrestling. I'll most likely live tweet. So yeah, the links to that are in the description, or it's at Portion of Sport _. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, links to both are in the description as well. All my channels should be popping on your screen. round about now for you to click or tap on. I've uploaded some Mafia, so if you want to watch that, I'd recommend it. It's good so far. But anyway, thanks for watching. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.